I really thought this green screen was gonna look good. My favorite albums of 2023. These albums are not in any particular order opinion-wise, but they are in an order. This is an objective order. It's nothing subjective about how I feel about the album, but there is a hidden order to these albums. The first person to figure out what the order I had in mind is in the comments, I'll Venmo you $1.22. Starting with our first album, Road to Elysium by my homie, Jay Paris. So Jay Paris and I met in college. We've been friends for the past 4 years or so. And he's been working on Road to Elysium for about 2 years of the years I've known him. And in that time, I've heard a lot of leaks. He's played a lot of stuff for me. And every time he plays something for me for this album, I was like, I can't wait for this to drop because it's going to be, just absolutely amazing music. And when it finally dropped, it really didn't disappoint. His style of music is like R&B trap. And this album really leans into kind of like a funky vibe too. It's super cool. The production on it is amazing. And his voice is angelic as always. It just sounds so good on every track. I really like how the album is really consistent, but it also is able to vary. Like in one song, he puts on a British accent for one of the verses. He has a couple songs that are more chill, a couple songs that are more hype. It's just like a good variety. My favorite song on this album is Far From Home. He played that for me a couple years ago, and I was freaking out at the drop. It's absolutely insane. But I love a lot of other songs on this album too. Down for Life is up there for me. Fallen Angels, Lathe, and Fall So Hard, I would say, are probably my favorite songs. Next album, Heaven Knows by Pink Pantheress. Pink Pantheress is just really cool. I love the drum pattern she uses on most of her instrumentals. It's just so fun. And it feels like the Mario Kart Wii online waiting room, and I just love it. Tell me these two instrumentals aren't similar. Right? I was trying to describe Pink Pantheress to my mom a while ago, and I was like, she's hyperpop, but not quite hyperpop in the same way that like 100 gecs is hyperpop, because she's not screaming. She's very chill, laid back, but it's not pop. And my mom thought of hypopop as sort of like an anti-hyperpop, and I thought that was genius. One thing I want to mention about albums on this list is there are a lot of albums from 2023 where I got a lot of singles that I really like and I put on all the time, but I just don't put the album on that much from start to finish, so they're not on this list. This, Heaven Knows, is an album that I have consistently put on like very frequently when I have like a 30-minute drive somewhere, because it's just a consistent vibe all the way through. I love the vibe. I feel like I'm living in a future that's kind of dystopian, but also kind of amazing, and it's so cool. Favorite song on this album by far is Another Life featuring Rema. It's so cool. It's such a good start to the album. Rema's voice sounds like he's talking to me from 2050, and like it's just gonna be okay. I also really like Nice to Meet You and Internet Baby, and Capable of Love is so poignant and cool. And Mosquito is also really cool. She says, I had a dream I was dead and I only cared because I was taken from you. And that's so cool. That's so sad. It's so sweet. Pink Pantheress, you're the coolest. Next album. This is my girlfriend's hat. It's got bunny ears. I love when she wears this hat. Jack Man by Jack Harlow. This album is straight bars, just amazing, very well written verses for 10 songs. They're all short and sweet. They get the point across, and a lot of them really have like a central theme to them, which I really like in a song. I feel like Jack Harlow felt like he lost a lot of his core rap fans with his previous album, which was a little bit more pop oriented, and he talks about that a lot on this album. If anybody who likes rap fell off Jack Harlow because of his last album, I feel like with this album, Jackman, you no longer have an excuse. I think he starts off the album great with Common Ground. It's just a super well written song. Other favorites would be They Don't Love It, Denver, and It Can't Be. Jack shows that he's really passionate about just writing dope lyrics on this album, and I think he absolutely kills it. So good for him. Happy he's back, and looking forward to whatever he drops next. 10,000 gecs. I want to be more movable in this video, but I'm in a closet. 10,000 gecs by 100 gecs is a very cool album. I'm a big 100 gecs fan. Their previous album, 1000 gecs, was kind of like electronic hyperpop, and 10,000 gecs is a little bit more rock-oriented hyperpop, but it's still really cool. They're just so weird and wacky and fun, and I like a lot of the songs on here, and I think this is just a fun album to put on for, a crazy drive. My favorite 3 songs are Dumbest Girl Alive, Me, 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 and Doritos and Fritos, and honorable mentions to Frog on the Floor and I Got My Tooth Removed. Both of those songs aren't songs that I see like on my playlist because they're just so wacky, but they're songs that I love nonetheless. They kind of give me vibes of like songs I would watch on YouTube when I was 9, like the Duck song or something, you know? Just fun music. Shout out 100 gecs for this one. Really love this album. Oh my god. I thought I was waiting a while for Road to Elysium by Jay Paris, but I have been waiting even more years for Utopia by Travis Scott. So Travis Scott is my favorite artist. Astroworld is my favorite album of all time. And Utopia is his follow-up to Astroworld. I love this album. He really goes in and raps on a lot of the songs, on like Hyena and Sirens, with like sort of old school industrial production, which is really cool. And he also has a lot of songs that are his more like psychedelic, trippy rap vibe, like I Know and Thank God. I think Thank God is my favorite song on the album, but also I Know, Topia Twins, Telekinesis, Hyena, Modern Jam, My Eyes. I think that's like a pretty solid top tier of my favorite songs. But as an album, fire through and through, and it's a long album, so that's pretty meaningful, I feel. I saw Travis live on December 21st at Madison Square Garden, and it's December 31st, and my voice is still recovering. I caught something nasty there, but the concert was so much fun, and Travis Scott is so cool. I think I would consider Utopia my favorite album that dropped this year. None of the other albums on this list are really in a ranking, but I think Utopia's probably gotta be my favorite. But that does not take away from whatever the next album is. Ego Death by me, DG the Artist. So I worked on Ego Death for about a year after dropping my previous album, Hello World, in 2022. And needless to say, I feel like Ego Death is my proudest product I've ever put out. I'm not going to pat myself on the back too much for this album. That feels kind of weird. But I am genuinely really proud of this album. And I do love listening to my own music. I bump this in the car all the time. And I recently got an Ego Death CD, which is really cool to have. Link in the description if you want one of your own, by the way. One other thing is this is a concept album. So the album does tell a story all the way through from beginning to end if you listen really closely, which is something I'd never tried before. And I'm really proud of how it came out. As of right now, I'd say my favorite songs on the album are Where Did It Go, Ego Death, and Get Up. But obviously, I love every song on this album because I made every song on this album. But those are 3 that I find myself listening to a lot even still. Oh boy, we're on a hot streak. Next album is The Wake Up Call by Clayton Alex, another friend of mine. So I met Clayton Alex actually the same day that I met Jay Paris, about 4 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. And The Wake Up Call is his first EP under the name Clayton Alex. So I really love listening to this EP. It's super short, it's only 5 songs, but it really tells a good story from the beginning to the end. It's a super personal project. It's sort of about how he's changed as a person since his mom passed away, which like combining the sheer like power of the production and the lyricism and the delivery on this with knowing him personally has definitely made me cry a couple times when listening to the album. It's pretty intense. My favorite track is definitely Queen. This one just kind of feels like what music should be. And I don't mean that in a way that other music isn't what music should be, but like it just clicks. It just feels right the way the song progresses, the way the hook flows, the melodies, the production, everything is just really, really nice on this track. And like emotionally it just hits too. Like the lyrics are crazy. It's a super well written and well produced album through and through. And one amazing thing about it is he did all the production on the album. He wrote all the lyrics, made the beats, rapped over them, and then like mixed and mastered himself as well. Just amazing, multi-talented dude, and I really can't wait to see what he puts out next. Also, I had like an hour-long conversation with him a while ago that we recorded and put on this channel, so I'll link it up here. I don't know which side I'm on. Last but not least is another album that I just put on and vibe to all the time, and this is I by Talin. So Talin is a Vietnamese artist who my girlfriend put me onto because my girlfriend's Vietnamese, and she's just so cool. So she got her start on a show called Rap Viet, which is like a sort of American Idol type show in Vietnam, but for rap and in Vietnamese. So originally she was a rapper, but this album is kind of more like R&B ballads, but still pretty upbeat. And she definitely can rap, and you can tell on some of these tracks that, like, you know, she started as a rapper just from like sort of the way she delivers things, and it sounds really, really cool. I've been studying Vietnamese for a little while, so having some music to listen to in the language is super helpful. It's really easy because it's really dope music. I don't feel like I have to force myself to listen to it to study or anything like that, you know? So the first song I ever heard by her was Get You Yoko Am I, which is like just a really chill, almost SZA-esque R&B ballad. And that song is on this album, so immediately a great start. Other songs I really like are Ngoidin, and Habao Dan Roy is really, really dope. There's a really cool feature on that I really like. He sounds really cool, and the way their two voices combine is just absolutely awesome. So yeah, this is kind of a niche pick, but even if you don't speak Vietnamese, I gotta recommend Talin. I think she's just really, really dope. Every song on this album is fire. I really just like putting it on, listening to it on a long drive. But yeah, shout out Talin. Keep it up. You're super dope. And yeah, you have a big fan here in America. Anyway, those are 8 albums from 2023 that I really loved and wanted to share with y'all. If you decide to listen to any that you haven't heard before, let me know what you think. And if you have heard some of these before and also like them as much as I do, let me know, because it's always fun to meet mutual fans. And finally, make sure to continue to spread the love for good music and drop your favorite albums from 2023 in the comments. All music is good music, and I love seeing what you guys are listening to. Now I'm gonna leave this closet and try to get the green screen out without breaking everything.